Okay, hello everybody and welcome. Thanks for spending your Tuesday evening with me and a little tour around the library. It's really hard to look at all these names on the screen and not see any faces, but I will do my best to give you a tour around the library. I would love to know if you want to go into the chat. How many, is everybody a grad student? Are we undergrad? What are you studying? What are your programs? If you could just add that into the chat, I would really appreciate it. That would help me give a little bit of better tour around the library. And then I will share my screen with you. I see a PhD STEM. That might be Dua. Let's see. What else do we have? Stop real quick so I can see. Undergrad, business management information, PhD STEM, awesome. Computer science. So a lot of you have probably actually already had a library session with me since you are all the PhD STEM candidates, or you will, but I am happy to kind of go over this again with you. So then you can ask me any questions as well that you might have. So I am going to minimize this and go back and share my screen to the library. And this is our fabulous library homepage, which is the beginning point for all library resources electronically, which of course most information is now. So this is going to be your starting place for all searches. And this right here, this search bar under the picture is what we call our One Search. And that is a discovery tool. So that if you type something into this search, it's going to pull up all of the resources that library owns, all the ebooks, all the databases, all the articles, conference proceedings, magazines, whatever it is, because we really have literally so many resources. So it's a good place to start, but it's also a very broad place to start. So this is a search that I do in the STEM education classes. So I'm just going to do it again for you now today. If you put education and environment in this one search bar and hit search, how many results will you get? Does anybody know? 8.5 million results for those two words. So if that's your topic, education and environment, it is searching all of the library resources. So it's 8 million hits back. So that is a little bit too much. So for research, you want to maybe try environmental education, something like this. Let's see what that does. And take out the education here and see what kind of search we can get here. 4,600,000. So that is literally half of what we had before, just by adding 2 little letters and switching your words around. So still, that's a little bit crazy. So now I'm going to try STEM education. Let's see what we get for that. 1,800,000 results. So that's better, but how are we going to really decide what we're looking for? How are you going to narrow down your PhD topic? Because there's so many resources out there, and you're going to have a very narrow topic so that you can introduce some new literature to the world. So, which I know is a lot of what your contracts are, so that you can improve STEM education. So we have STEM fields and STEM education. This one search actually brings up this little, like, gives you background information on your topic, which is really nice. So you can kind of just click here, it's an encyclopedia, and it will give you background information. It's not something that you would necessarily cite, but it just helps you understand background about your topic. Also, ebooks provide really good background information. If you were to look here, STEM education and emerging field, like an ebook. So that will have chapters that will kind of help you give context. But then when you start to really want to do some academic research for your PhD, for your master's, you're probably going to need peer-reviewed articles. So right here, we're up here at 1.8 million search results for STEM education. And then I'm going to limit to scholarly articles, which is peer-reviewed. So full text is also very nice, but in the case that you are doing your PhD, you may need to look at all the articles that have abstracts, not just the ones that this library owns, because your topic may be so small that you have to get other articles from interlibrary loan, which is a service that we have here. If we don't own one particular article, we can get it for you from another library that does. So that is a really good service. Has anybody used interlibrary loan? I see, can you get to the years? Yes, I can. Thanks for the chat, Saleh. So also right here, I'm going to just go ahead and do scholarly peer-reviewed articles. So here we go here. And then if you look on this left-hand side, all of these options are available for you. You could make it to full text. You can also say, I just want the latest in STEM education. I just want to know exactly what's going on now. So I'm going to change this publication date from 2020 to 2023. Let's see what we get here. Okay, so now we're down to 200,000. The most recent ones. I think that's still the most recent ones. And then I'm going to do full text, see what we get. There is also another option besides choosing the actual year span. You can go up here and these sort options, it tells you it defaults to searching by relevance. So all the database results for STEM education are going to sort by the ones most relevant to the phrase that I typed in. There is also, you can do date newest and date oldest here. So if you only want the newest ones, you can put that one there. So it's the same results, but it's just based on the latest articles. And that, unfortunately, is not always going to have the most relevant, because if you look here, you're seeing that STEM is a subject term here. So this subject term is not really STEM education, because when I searched STEM education, I didn't do what? I didn't put quotation marks around STEM education. So when you're searching, if you put quotation marks around your phrase, it's going to search those two words together. So if we do that, it won't randomly find something that has the word STEM in it. So here we go, STEM education now, we're down to 13,000 results here. And again, it's going to be by relevance, and we still have it as from 2020 to 2023. So another thing, this is one thing that you really always want to look at, is this subject terms. I'm going to just click on this real quick. But when you start searching around, you always want, oh, I saw somebody in the waiting room, sorry. You always want to check your subject terms. because that's how the database organizes all the information it has. So if this was very close to what I'm looking for, I could do STEM education and entrepreneurship, and that would narrow it down even further. The author supplies its own keywords, and then also the database does to organize it. And as you can see, this is the International Journal of Technology and Design, and this is a 2022 article. So if I go back to our result list, which was STEM education, let's try and Saudi Arabia. This is definitely a search that I have done before. Now let's see what we have. We have 184 search results. And I'm going to click on this. I have another question in the chat. Thank you. What happens on almost all of your searches, even if it's in this one search up here, or if you go to a database, you're always going to have all these tools available to you. Sometimes they may be up here, sometimes they're here, but yes, so say this is an article that just was published, it's 2022, you want to cite it in your research, you'll go over here to cite. And then it will ask you, what citation style do you want to use? So we're going to go to APA 7th edition. And it'll give you, no, didn't, but this is actually the citation right here. So you could copy and paste this into your citation manager, which we recommend Zotero, or you can just copy this into your paper and check it later to make sure that it is actually proper APA style. But you will see that it's last name, initials, it's indented, you have the volume, and the title is in italics. So those are pretty easy to check when it's an article like that. You could also include the DOI or the URL to the article if you have it. So in the case that it was full text, you could include the DOI also, if in fact it had it. It has an ERIC number actually. So ERIC is a very unique database because it is an open access education database. And ERIC, if you haven't searched it, has a lot of resources for you also. I am going to just switch really quickly to our research guides on the library website because I want to show you the STEM education research guide. So this is where we were, right on the search bar. And then we have research guides here. And right at the top here is education and interdisciplinary studies, which is what your department used to be, and then STEM education. So there's a lot of information on here for you. And the ebook education statistics is really helpful. It has the TIMS links. It has the Saudi Digital Library on here. It has many resources for you to find statistics and data. So we just kind of put them all in one place for you. Makes it easy to find and locate. Ebooks. Those are ebooks that will have information. They'll have ebooks in your subject area. And databases, this is very helpful because it kind of narrows down all the databases that might have information that are helpful for you in your area of study. And so for the other folks that are not in STEM education, computer science, there are also other research guides. If you just go up here and you'll find those computer science databases. That way you don't always have to start with the one search, that big broad search, but we could go into one of these other ones and try your search topics as well. So it gives you a broader range of finding information. And the good thing about databases is that they have scope. So it's just particularly for information, say education, or these will be the ones that have the most resources in education. And then this is the ERIC database, which I'm sure you're familiar with, but that's all open access, and it's educational resources that the government puts into a database. So that's a .gov. What other majors did I see here? Computer science, yes. Business, we have a lot of business databases. There's a lot of information in our research guide for business. So this is always a really great place to start right here in our research guides. And as most of you are masters, this theses and dissertations will be very helpful for you, trying to find extra research. And then we also, of course, have the grad track research guide, which I'm pretty sure I have showed everybody. But this Home on Grad Track, this grad track guide is specifically for grad students, both master's and PhD students. And this is, we have tried to literally compile everything that you could possibly have a question about in this guide. So we have how to do scholarly research, how to do your literature review, finding data, surveys, tests and measurements. Under writing, we have Grammarly, which I hope everyone knows that Grammarly Premium is free through the library. We have writing tutorials. This is the academic writer that we have, which is a database, which is all APA. So you can actually write papers in there. But if you're doing your thesis or dissertation, we have the template here. So that's a huge help to start in the template. Start writing your document in the template. That way you don't have to go back and change all the formatting and change the numbers and change one from italics to Roman, whatever. So if you are doing a Word thesis, I highly recommend you using this template and starting with it. It'll make your life a lot easier later. And we can always, of course, help you with that. We also have one for LaTeX for the math students and the computer science. That is here also. We also have formatting assistance. So if you ever have a question or need to do that. I am open to questions. If anybody wants to stick something in the chat, I can tell you more about anything specific you're looking for. Otherwise, I'm going to go back and show you some other things in the databases. So if we actually just go to databases, this is how it's organized from A to Z. And so there's 163 of them. So it's really hard to find what you're looking for specifically by the name of the database. So that's why we do the research guides, so you can kind of understand what resources are available for you in each program. I am going to go to Scopus. Scopus is a very interdisciplinary database. It has a lot of information on everything. And it also is really easy to use and has a lot of functionality. So let me just show you. Does anybody have a search term that you want me to try? Let me just guess. All right. I am going to do kind of on the education theme. STEM education with quotation marks. And what should I search? I'm going to try math. So this is another search technique I'm going to show you here. So instead of writing math or mathematics, I can just use this asterisk, and then that will search all the words that start with MATH. So I can just do STEM education and math, and I'm going to try Saudi Arabia students. Let's see. That might be too big of a search string, but we'll see. We got 3. All right. Okay, one's a book chapter. One's a view abstract. And then this is oftentimes not very easy to see, but this little box here says full text finder. So if you want to look at the full text, you have to click this little box right here. And then we will see if we have it. Okay, and so we don't. You'll see right over here, we do not have it at the library. So if you click this button right here, request through interlibrary loan, we're gonna have to log in. And then it'll actually take you right to the form that you need to interlibrary loan. This is also through the library, but it tells you the title of the chapter, the title of the book, ISBN, the author. All you have to do is come down here and enter a need before date, an affiliation, and then you send it and you will receive it. If it's an article in just a couple hours sometimes, or a couple days, or a book sometimes takes up to 2 weeks, but usually you get it before that. So just realize when you're doing your really intense research that the ILL is an amazing service. In library terms, we have, it's called World Cat really, because it's a full catalog. All the libraries in the world kind of contribute their own MARC records. Everybody uploads all their MARC records so that everybody can see what everybody else has. And we just, have this consortium so that everybody can get whatever they're looking for. So it's pretty amazing. Let's see. So back in Scopus, as I was saying before, all of the databases kind of have the same tools. We have export here, download, view citation overview, view cited by, add to list. Here we go, sort on date newest. Or we could do by relevance. Let's see how that changes. It's still just the 3 documents, so it's however you decide to search it. And then you have your author names, years, etc. over here. You can also search by language and source type and affiliation and keywords. So there's so many ways to search. One thing about Scopus, which is really amazing, is you can just search by the author's name, and then you can set up an alert every time somebody cites that document or anybody or that author publishes another article. So it's pretty great. And again, you could do limit to, exclude, search within these results, set alert, many things. Scopus, you can just log in with your tracks, but if you want to do the alerts or something like this, then you do have to just create a separate account. It's still free, but it does work. All right, so I'm going to go back and take out Saudi Arabia. Let's see what we got.
Excuse me?
Yes.
Excuse me, Nancy, could you accept some students? They are in waiting room, I think.
Oh, thank you. I didn't see anybody pop up. Let me see. Are they? I don't see them in there.
Okay, I'll check with them. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Let me check. Let's see. I see 15 in. Okay, so I just took out Saudi Arabia and just did STEM education and math and students and got this results. So again, when you're doing your literature review first, you're gonna have to like play with the search terms to make it broader or more narrow. So I went from 3 results to 2,000 results. Do we see anybody? I don't see anyone in the waiting room. All right. So again, let's do, we'll edit our results, STEM education and Saudi Arabia. Let's try it this way. Still get the 3 results I did last time. 6. All right. So if we look at this, let's look at this first one. Science teachers' perceptions of STEM education, possibilities and challenges. So we'll see here, this article is from what year? Where does it show? June 2015. But then you see over here, it's cited by 35 documents. So that means that since 2015, in the 7 years since 2015, 35 other people have cited this article. So that's kind of a great hit right here. So this might be a seminal work in the field. And then you can go back here and see that science education, science teacher induction, there are 11 references that this author used before he wrote this article. So those might be interesting to check out. Here, look at this one from 2013. That one has been cited 158 times. So that means that 158 other researchers found that one useful. This one, 2012, 287 times. So those are the kind of things you're looking for when you really start dialing down on your resources, because all of these are live links that you can kind of just connect to. So over here, cited by 35, 19, this is 2022. So let's go in there. And then this is what I was kind of talking about before. So this one is July 2022. It's a brand new article. So if this looks like this is something interesting for your work, you have all these options. You can click on the author and set an alert and say, anytime this author publishes something, it comes to me. You can set the citation alert if anybody cites this article. So that then you'll just be keeping up on the research as it's published. And then again, there's all these references that you can look at too. So this is a 2022 article, so these references will probably be a little bit newer. So it becomes a web of citations, and that's how you sort of drill down into your research, is using these tools that the library provides. Look, here's that same one. This one's from 2004. It's been cited over 2,000 times. So if you ever hear people talking about analytics and metrics and impact factor, that's they're referring to citations and like the level that it's published in, and also how many times it's been cited. So as a researcher, those numbers are kind of what defines the impact of what you're researching and its impact on the world, is those numbers of citations and the quality of the journal and who has access to it and things like that. So that's known as scholarly communications, and that's probably a little deeper, but I am absolutely happy to take any questions, or if you have anything specific you would like to know, I'm very open to that to help you. Amira, is there anybody else in the room waiting or no?
I don't know. Maybe
Okay.
they have like a technical problem.
Okay, all right, no worries. I just wanted to make sure I wasn't leaving anybody out.
Thank you.
Yep. What else can I tell you? Over here, we have the scholarship repository for the Evans Library. This is where once you finish your master's or PhD, your document will be stored in perpetuity, which is pretty cool. So instead of printing out documents, we now just put them in the repository so that they're open access and anybody can view them. So you'll get a unique little code you can put on your website or on your CV, and it'll just go right to your dissertation. So like the educational materials. And then it's kind of cool because on this site, it actually tells you how many times people have looked at it and from what countries. So this is a cool statistic. This particular submission has been downloaded or viewed 2,500 times. And then it tells you who's interested in it by country. So that's another very cool statistic. So when you go to graduate and finish your thesis and dissertation, you will go through a process to get this uploaded to the scholarship repository. And that way your research is forever accessible and other people can build on it for you. Is everyone familiar with their library liaisons? We have experts in each field so that you can email a librarian directly. They'll know your subject more. Kristen is officially STEM education. Susie does computer science. Wanda does business. So if you ever need a specific question or are looking for something or having trouble finding something, you can email your liaison, or you could actually just use the chat function here. So whenever this says available, there's one of our librarians in Evans Library sitting, waiting for you to ask a question. So if you can't find an article or you're trying to narrow down your topic, whatever you need to do, we are available for you. And what else can I show you on the library website? There's so much stuff.
Oh, excuse me, Miss Nancy, I have a question,
Yes.
if I may.
Terrific, thank you.
Thank you very much. I actually just wanted to ask you about if we want to request a peer review or from the library, or do we have to seek it from another sources?
A peer review of your article?
Yes.
Of what you're writing?
Yes.
So we do not do writing assistance here, but they do at the Student Success Center. Do you know where that is?
Yes.
Are you thinking more editing, or are you thinking like an actual peer review of your work?
No, for example, if I want to start a new publication, and then I just before finalizing my work, yeah, I just need somebody to review my paper before do the publication.
Yes, absolutely. And that would be the Academic Support Center, which I now is the Student Support and Success Center. And they are kind of down by PDH. And
all right, thank you.
Yeah, there's a wonderful writing assistant there. What we do have, though, is a Turnitin course where you can register for the class and be able to get a similarity score. So
I'm not familiar with Turnitin, but yeah, I mean, if that's relevant, if you can explain it, that would be appreciated.
Okay, so Turnitin is a software that many professors require it for writing classes because it gives you a similarity score to it, so it's to prevent plagiarism. But if you're a master's or thesis student, then you can use the Turnitin that we set up, and it won't put it in the database. So it'll just show you, a lot of international students like that. It'll show you the similarity score. So if you were writing something and you mistakenly used a lot of the words that were kind of the same as it was in the article or something, it'll tell you that that sounds a little bit too similar to something that's already been published, and you should change the wording. So that's a good tool too. If you ever want to talk more about it, I'm happy to let you know. That's in the grad track guide also under writing. There's more people coming in. Any other questions? think I'm having some more people come in now.
Could you explain one example for computer science students? Because as a PhD student in computer science, and I think other students, I think master, so could you explain an example to research in the library or include
Sure.
1 or 2 topics?
I think so. I will go to the research guides first. So, and as a topic, something like the research, I mean, computer science, which that is not necessarily my field of study. That's why we have the liaisons. But my first go-to would go to a research guide, excuse me, because then that would give me a little background on computer sciences. And it would give me a little bit of information about where I should first look for computer science information. So this is Susie's articles. Oops. Patents, home. Amir, what is an actual subject that we would look up for computer science? Like what area are you studying?
Computer, no, in computer, I am focusing right now in cryptography.
Cryptography? Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna wing it here, computer science. And like this, cryptography?
Yes.
Okay, let's search. Okay, so there's quite a few on this, algebra and computer science. Here's an ebook. We want articles though, right? Let's go to, so I'm going to go to scholarly peer-reviewed articles. And then you'll see here, there's a lot of conference proceedings. And that's just published presentations that somebody has presented at a conference. So it looks like there's a lot of that. Do we want to limit it to newer publications? 2018, maybe? See what we can get. Again, so a lot of conference proceedings. So that's interesting. Is that something that's very used in your field for computer science rather than doing peer-reviewed articles? So those are the first ones coming up. All right, let's look at this one. So we have all the authors. This is a 2022 article, and then these are the subject terms. So this would be a really good way to try to narrow down your topic, because there's clearly these different ones: public, private, data security, quantum, like that. So the best thing to do is always kind of read the abstract, or this is a description, and kind of see if that looks like that's in your realm. And if it's not, just move on. But in this case, you could maybe narrow down cryptography, and if that would help you get to what you're looking for. Go back to the result list. Okay, this is an academic journal. This is quantum cryptography. And then this says just physics, electrocomputers. So let's go back. Let's just try quantum cryptography. Or is that out of this? That's more physics than computer science. So that's why you have to really kind of dive down and go into these subject terms. So this looks like a lot of IEEE conferences. And we also have a fully IEEE database. So you can just search in there. If we went back to databases, because it does look like a lot of these articles are all from IEEE conferences. So that might be a way that computer science researchers communicate with each other more so than articles. Let's look up IEEE. So we have the IEEE Explore Digital Library. And let's try, what kind of cryptography do you want to try?
Like homomorphic encryption?
Okay. Nice search. So you'll see here, there's a 1700 journals, early access, all results. Again, lots of conference papers, which are certainly, if we put in, you know, peer review, those are certainly usable, because it looks like that's kind of how they publish all the newest works in computer science. About this. So here we go. It has the abstract. So you would have a little look at this first and see if that looks like it's interesting or if that's close. This is what I was talking about before with the DOI. That is just a way, it's a digital object identifier. So if you put this link in your reference or citation, it'll always go directly to this article. And then this actually has the full article here, so you can look through all of the different parts and then also see here that's 37 people cited this paper. And there's a link to go directly to the paper in Google Scholar or right here, show article. So that's a good way to kind of start narrowing down your topic. And there's references here as well, so you can see what they used to study, to write their paper or their presentation. So this all must be on LaTeX, huh? Efficient computing. So IEEE, that's a good one. And then you can use this here, cite this if you'd like. Does anyone use a citation manager, Mendeley or Zotero? No? Okay, it's a good way. It's a really good way to keep all your citations and references organized when you're writing your paper. I will just pop back to our research guides real quick, but Saleh says he has used citations machine. We just type in Zotero. Oh,
Just curious, how long do you think this is going to take?
question? Yeah, cool. Thank you. It is cool and easy. And it just, you can click and drag, you can organize it. It's very helpful when you're doing a paper. So just FYI, we have all these videos and workshops that we did on Zotero that will make your life easier. Hello, we have small young researchers today. So I definitely invite you, if you're embarking on your PhD or master's program, to check out Zotero, because that will be really helpful as you move forward. Those are the two takeaways. Start with a template and start with a citation manager. So just as far as being a grad student in general. Anything else? You're welcome. I'm happy to help anybody ask any questions. No problem. We also have an Evans Library YouTube channel that has a bunch of tutorials and workshops that will be helpful if you just need to kind of parse something out. But really, the best is using the chat feature, asking your liaison, because they'll be able to help you really dig into the databases. And the newest articles are not always the best articles, but the thing about research is, that's why we call it scholarly communications, is because research builds on research. And so we're all adding to the body of work that is research in the world, science, etc. So that's the whole idea of why you cite things and make references and add on to work. But sometimes some of the seminal articles, something that really changed the way the field is studied, is an older article. So don't always exclude that. And or you could use it a little bit in your lit review to say, hey, this is where this field veered here based on this research, something like that. So those articles are important also to just kind of review. But then when you put it in Zotero or research, you can just say background information or lit review articles, or, you know, and that's why those citation managers are so great, because you can organize them by what part of your paper that you want to put them in. And the citations are right there already, and they'll create them for you. So you don't have to do that piece as well, which gets really tedious when you're actually doing all the research of your project. So.
Thank you so much for the meeting, and thank you for all this great information. I believe all the students have at least overall idea about how to use the Evans library and to get references and search in a great way. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. It's my pleasure. And please follow up if you have any other additional questions. We're happy to help. So this was just kind of an overview, but we're happy to help one-on-one if you need it.
I just have last question, Miss Nancy.
Yes.
So yeah, if we just want to contact with you again, how that would be?
You can, yeah, definitely do via email. I'll put my email in the chat here, and you can follow up with me. And then also I will send this recording to Amira as well, so she can share it if you need it.
Thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
Yes, thank you for having me. This was my first time I've been invited to a student organization meeting. I feel very honored, so thank you.